Yeah. What's really happening? What's really happening? So I know y'all been waiting on it, right? I know it's been a minute since I dropped the Miami story, and y'all been in the comments. OG, what's up, man? We want some more Miami. Y'all been asking about the John Doe. Y'all been asking about Poker Bean Project stories. You also been, inbox me about the Zoe Pound story, right? But before it was a John Doe and before it was a Zoe Pound, before the Poker Bean was doing what it was doing, there was the Tutu Ab players, man. Shout out to, all the original Tutu Ab players, man. Smokey, Woodrow, Lab, just to name a few, right? So, I'm going to let you know, man, my association with the Tutu Ab boys, man. I'm a baby Tutu Ab, man. You know what I mean? I got the facts. I wrote about it in the books, man. If you really know me from Miami, man, you from the Little River area. You from, you from over there on Tutu Ave and 79th, 81st. You know what I'm talking about? You know what it is, man. You growed up with me. You went to Broadmoor, West Little River. You know what I mean? You already know what it is, right? So let me come straight from the book with you, right? Straight out the book pressure. Straight out the book. So before I get into it, this is one of my books, man. For those of y'all don't know, man. Pressure, y'all can get it on Amazon or you can inbox me for the book. A lot of Miami true fact stories in here, man. You know what I mean? And when you get through reading that, you definitely want to tap in to my book, Federal Pressure. You know what I mean? My time in the federal prison, you know how I connected with OGs out of all the cities, man. Detroit, Chicago, you know what I mean? New York, just a lot of this networking went on in the feds. A lot of knowledge came by the OG, you know what I mean? From being way out the bottom, right? So let me get to y'all with the Tutu Ab story and how I became a baby Tutu Ab and my association with them, man. You know what I mean? Shout out to Smokey, man. Rest in peace. He one of the ones that really, you know what I mean, jumped me in, damn. You might as well say, man, because Smokey used to put all us, if you already know about that little alley going through by West Little River, when you had to go catch the bus by Broadmoor, y'all know what I'm talking about, man. Smokey used to make us bump down there, man. Like, yeah, you had to really put in work. Shout out to the Moes, man, Darren Moe, you know what I mean? Shout out to them boys, man, the Moe brothers, man, because they were some of the first ones that Smokey made us. I used to have to fight them boys just to get to school, man, you know what I mean? They know what it is, man. So shout out to them Chambers, man, Keon Chambers, you know what I mean, Grade Chambers, you know what I mean? Shout out to them boys too, man, because we all us bumped. All us bumped and touched hands, man, you know what I mean? And it made us tough, man. Y'all, that's another reason why I got the Ford Tough hat on today, man. A lot of y'all young cats might not know that saying, built Ford Tough. But coming up around Tutu Ab days, man, you know what I'm saying? You had to be built Ford Tough. You know what I mean? I'm a Chevy guy, but I rock with that concept right there, built Ford Tough. Let me get into the little story for y'all, man, and how I came, come up around on Tutu Ave, right? Y'all know I'm originally out the Brown sub, man. Out the sub, up the hill. Shout out to Willie and Claire. Shout out to the high tops, the flat tops. You know what I mean? Shout out to the Dolphin store. You know what I mean? 4-6. All that around in Brownville, man. You know what I mean? So, but when we left Brownville, we moved to the city. We moved on Tutu Ave, right? And I'm gonna get into that part of the story with y'all, right? So let me read where I'm coming from. Around the time I was 6, we moved out the sub, right? Me and my mom left my grandma's house. My pop Pig was paralyzed in a wheelchair. How he became paralyzed will remain a mystery for the rest of my life, right? I heard all kind of versions of the story. Some saying he robbed some guys for some money and dope, and the guys came back and retaliated by cutting my dad brake line, man. You know what I mean? And that's just one of the stories I heard. But like I say, it's still a mystery. Pig could no longer take care of his family because now he needed somebody to take care of him. Shout out, rest in peace to my old man, Pig, man. Father's Day's coming up. You know what I mean? Papa was a Rolling Stone, man. And all he left me was alone, man. Shout out to Pig, though. I know some of y'all young cats might not know that song by the Temptations. But listen. Pig could no longer take care of his family because now he needs someone to take care of him. Nevertheless, that's a whole nother story to itself. The move to the new hood came with new opportunities for me, my hustle game. We moved right into the heart of Liberty City. As a matter of fact, a big boss dope boy back in the day, shout out to Big Ike, converted a movie theater into a nightclub called the Heart of the City. That's, you know what I mean? If y'all don't know, that's right there by North Side. The North Side movie theater used to be North Side. Big Ike, You know what I mean? Brought that thing and, or he was associated with some partners and they got that right there and they turned it into the heart of the city nightclub. So that just goes to show you that this area was known for being the heart of the city, right? The heart of Liberty City, right? So we stayed right around the corner from it. Our new address was 81st and 21st Avenue. We had on our east side front, we had 27th Avenue right there. That's what there on our other side, we had 22 Ave. You know what I mean? That became my hustle ground. I would pump gas at the Shell station after school. Shout out to the Shell station right there on 22nd Avenue and 79th. That used to be my little first hustle, man, pumping gas for a quarter. A lot of y'all young cats, man, you know what I mean? That's why I say we built for it. Y'all ain't got to come up the way, you know what I mean, the OG came up in my era and how we came up hustling, right? We was out the house early. I would pump gas at the Shell station after school. If that wasn't jumping fast enough, I would cross the street to Earl Supermarket. Shout out to Earl Supermarket, directly across the street from the gas station. I would bag grocery over there, and when most of the boys my age was on their way to the Little League football practice, I was on my grind. I guess they got a thrill out of playing sports. Up until this point in my life, I was mostly a loner. It wasn't that I didn't have a problem with making friends or anything. It was just that the kids my age were they were busy playing, and I was busy hustling. Once I got into school, I needed to represent. I needed some representable clothes. I needed some nice clothes and stuff. Things had to change. My mom had learned from my grandma about the secondhand store where they sold used clothes. So I wasn't ready. I was tired of wearing, the used clothes and stuff like that. So I got out there, man, early, man. In my store, you'll find out I started buying my school clothes literally, man, when I turned about 11 years old. You know what I mean? Shout out to shout out to my mama, man. She always made a way. She always provided. She bought us sometimes secondhand clothes, but she never bought us like secondhand underwears or socks or anything like that. When my mama had game, she knew where to go get the nice stuff from too, man. We just go on Miami Beach and go to the secondhand stores on Miami Beach and stuff like that, right? So, that was part of the come up, right? But, my mom, she had learned that from my grandma and became a go-to store for my mom. I had different plans. That what led me to start my little hustle crew. It was Tony, Johnny, Mike, me, and Lil Red, right? Johnny West. They were my friends. We had a lot of fights with winners changing by the day, but we mostly got money. So you know how it is on the block, man. You know what I mean? Back then, we wasn't trying to shoot each other just because we had a little misunderstanding, a little fight. Some days I win, some days one of them win. But at the end of the day, we come up scrapping. We come up built like that, man. We come up fighting. You know what I mean? We come up, dealing with little issues like that, man. That's how we solved out, and we right back to playing again. You know what I mean? Nowadays, kids don't much go outside. Period. You know what I mean? Let alone be out there, getting into little scraps or whatever. So that's the difference between my generation and the generation now. You know what I mean? We played outside. A lot of y'all ain't much coming outside. Like literally, man, we built our bikes and stuff like that. You know what I mean? A lot of y'all, I don't think people, the kids, they buying kids bikes. Somebody just handing them the cell phone this day and age. So let me get into it. Once I got it, I'll say, okay, where I'm at. But fights change and winning every day. The area we lived in was made for a young hustler like myself. We had so many ways to get money all around us. Leave it up to me to find all of them. We were into everything except pimping and selling drugs, even though that was the environment we existed in. Back in the days, man, 79th was the real host road, We stayed right around the corner from 79th, one of the biggest host roads in Miami. Every day, I would come up with a master plan to put some money in our pockets, talking about my little crew I had, right? Whether we were stealing plants or nice flowers from our yards to resell them or collecting cans and bottles for the recycling place in the hood. We were on it. I remember pushing buggies down to the recycling place right next to Bojangles, already dressed to go to the movies at Northside across the street. So before I would go to the movies, I would eat some dirty rice. Shout out to Bojangles back in the day with the dirty rice and you know the biscuit game, the sausage biscuits. You know, I used to go get my sausage biscuits, my dirty rice, and going over to the movie theater and wash it down with some of that iced tea they used to have there, right? My mama would see me laying my clothes out on the bed, getting ready, and she would wait good and well until I was on my way out the door, and she'd ask, "Where you think you going, mister?" That would always puzzle me when she asked me that because it was my every week routine. Now I knew all now I knew all she wanted was the respect of me asking for permission to go, right? I was a man child back then, man. I get myself ready, man. I would, you know what I mean? Shout out to the can place. Y'all don't know, right there, the Bojangles right across from Northside, right on 27th Avenue. There was a recycling spot right next to it where we sold cans. All the junkies would sell their cans there. You know what I mean? So they had another spot on 79th. You take the bottles down there, or you could take them to the Lutopium store right there on 22nd Avenue where Tutu Ave, no freaking right there, hung out all the time. That's where they used to pull up. That was their spot. You know what I mean? So that's how I got to really, you know what I mean, vibing with the real Tutu Ave boys back then, man. You know what I mean? I was a little too young, but I like my era and guys up under us, we consider ourselves baby Tutu Abers, man. You know, with the Playboy bunnies, that was a sign. You know, they come through back then. The Tutu Ab boys had a white Nova back then. They used to have the Playboy bunny inside the Nova. They used to have a little trailer. They used to have a little speaker set and everything, man. Them boys really was for the hood, man. You know what I mean? And they really taught us how to stand up for the hood. Shout out to them boys, man. Before, like I said, before there was a John Doe, before there was a lynch mob, before there was whoever, Zopound, there was the Tutu Ave players, man. Before all that blood and Crip stuff came to Miami, there was the Tutu Ave players, man. They rent all the way that they rent everything up and down Tutu Ave, man, in Liberty City, man. They were big pressure, man. They number one spot used to be the base station. If you know where the base station was, man, right off 119th, right there off 22nd Avenue, man, that's where Tutu Ave boys used to hang out on the weekends and stuff like that, you know, Jumbos and places like that. But they pull up, though they had them Dickie sets on, them steel toe boots, or them red Converse on, you know what I mean? And guess what? You already know, but they rocking, you know what I mean, rocking together and they standing together, man. Shout out to them boys, man. Shout out to, like, just the neighborhood in itself, man. Y'all want some real Miami stories, y'all need to get into my book, man. I'm telling you, I'm going to give you little pieces of it. I'm not going to tell you the whole story. I'm just going to show you my association with the Tutu Ave boys, man. I've been in this thing, you know, since 84. We move around there. We move around out the sub around 84, man. You know what I mean? I'm taking y'all back to the 80s in Miami. You know what I mean? Real history, real facts in this book right here. So let me get into it. I was a real man child. I said, little did my mama know I had big surprise in store for me. It was around this time I found out I had a big brother. You know what I mean? That's another part. I'm not even going to get into that part of the story, man. Yeah, I had a brother that, you know, came from the islands, man. You know what I mean? My mama brought over, you know, if y'all don't already know, the OG, half Bahamian. Shout out to the 242. Now I saw Bahamas. But, yeah, I'm not going to read everything out the book, but you'll know that's how I became to be associated with the Tutu Ave players, man. We moved right in the hood, man. We moved right around there. I went to Broadmoor Elementary, you know what I mean? I went to West Little River Elementary. I finally ended up going to Central High School. The OG never finished school because, you know, I spent 11 years in prison. Before I went to prison, I went to Okeechobee Boys School, you know what I mean? So it's been an in and out process for me, man. So y'all already know that's why I be on here always advocating to my young cats, man. Like, listen, man, the streets dead, man, the game dead. Get you a job, get you a business, you know what I mean? Stay on the other side of the law, man, the right side, and don't find yourself doing as much time as the OG, right? But, yeah, man, it is what it is. Y'all been begging, y'all been in the comments, y'all been asking for Miami stories, man. I'm telling you, man, get the book. Go on Amazon. There go my name on the book, Keaton Hunter, man. If not, you know what I mean, inbox me for your copy, autograph copy. You know what I'm saying? Also, you're going to want to follow through, like I said before, with my other book, Federal Pressure, right? And we just going to talk a little, I'm just going to talk a little bit about my generation coming up in the time when I was coming up, man. We used to, we didn't have trampolines and all that there. We had, the old mattress that was thrown on the trash pile. We'd go get that and we'd do our backflips and jumps off that. You know what I mean? We didn't have nobody buying us bikes. We went out and we got us a bike the best way we can. We found the old frame of a bike. We pieced it together till we had a full bike, you know what I mean? And if we didn't get it like that, y'all already know how we got it the other way. We saw you outside, you park your bike the wrong way. That's why brothers that had their bike flipped up on the flip side, make it harder for you to grab because you run into the store and run out. Boy, back in the day, your bike was gone, you know what I mean? It was just, it sound hood, it sound ghetto, and that's what it is, man. You know what I mean? Shout out to Liberty City, man. The gutter, Dade County. You know what I mean? Y'all already know what it is. The OG came up the real way, man. We built, like I said, I got the hat on for it, tough, man. We was outside then, you know what I mean? But guess what it did for us? It gave us a lot more common sense. You know what I mean? That's why you see guys my era, you know what I mean, from my era still ticking, still holding strong because we were built like that, man. We had to be built like that. Nowadays, man, this younger generation, with technology, the phone, social media, it's like this the outside right now. You know what I mean? That's why I'm on here. This the way that I connect with y'all, because this where y'all at. You know what I mean? Y'all ain't outside. Y'all ain't enjoying nature. Y'all ain't, you know what I mean, getting the elbow burns and the scratches from the concrete. Y'all ain't playing football outside like we was, man. You know what I mean? A lot of y'all, even if you is riding a bike, you got your helmet on, you got your knee pads on, like you ready to go play football or something. Y'all, it's just a different breed, man. You know what I mean? My generation to this generation. If you want to associate it with cars, we gonna say we hard old school cars, that hard steel, and y'all Teslas, man. You know what I mean? Battery generated. You know what I mean? We off that gas and that diesel. You know what I'm talking about? But listen, man, y'all ask for it. I'm giving y'all some real content on Miami back in the days, man. Old Miami, man. A lot of people saying Miami ain't like it used to be. You know what I mean? And to some point, I agree with them, man. We losing our swag down there in Miami. We losing our, our concrete. We losing our, what started, where we come from. So that's why I definitely be getting on here, sharing my old Miami stories, man. So for those of us that know, we know, man. Those of us know the old 15th, the old 18th Avenue, 61st, you know what I mean? Those of us that know the Scots when the Scots was up. Those of us know Largemont. Those of us know, you know what I mean, Matchboxes. Those of us that know the Diamond. You know what I mean? Those that really know, all the way down to P-Rhyme and Ghouls, man, in the village. You know what I mean? Shout out to them boys down south. Shout out to the Grove. Those that really know, man, we really know Miami getting watered down, and we got to save Miami, man. We got to really get back to who we really are, man. Shout out to those that's keeping that don't culture going on, man. You know what I mean? Long live, Vito No Shake. You know what I'm saying? Long live the real one. Long live brother Marquise. You know what I mean? Fresh Kid Ice. We losing a lot of Miami original legends, man. Shout out to Bunky Brown. You know what I mean? Long live Bunky, man. And I be trying to tell y'all young cats, man, Bunky died in the joint. You know what I mean? So, hey, the game ain't promised, man. The game ain't promised you that you're going to come out, that you're going to be able to retire like the OG. Like I did in one of my videos, all the real Miami OGs be somewhere in the country fishing, be somewhere out the way. So this your boy OG Jigavella, man. I hope y'all appreciate hearing my connection with the Tutu players, man. Long live the Tutu players, man. Playboy bunnies with the red sneakers. Y'all already know what it is.